the Go Productions, and today we're practicing for a trip to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida.
Yay!
That's right. You've agreed to take the grandkids to a trip to Disney, and you've heard that it's exhausting. So we're recommending the use of a wheelchair when you arrive.
A wheelchair? What does that do?
Well, the wheelchair can help you save your energy for the things that you really want to do. So our practice today will be completely seated. Let's get started by finding the center of our chairs
Check.
and putting our feet firmly on the ground
Check.
with our knees in line with our ankles.
Check. Check.
We'll start by working the feet. So we'll gently roll the feet back and forth, heel
Back
to
and
toe.
forth. Back and forth.
Back and forth as we warm up the feet. Our feet are really important. They help us keep balanced.
That is some good balance there.
That's right. So now we'll move to foot taps. So we'll tap one foot and then the other. Up and down.
Up and down. Up and down. And sometimes it can get a little hot.
Yes, definitely. Disney can be a little hot. So you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. Now we'll bring our toes up.
And sometimes you will find an air-conditioned spot in Disney.
Yes, and you want to take complete advantage of that when you have the opportunity, especially if you visit in the summer.
Which we do all the time.
So we'll place our feet firmly on the ground, lift up the toes, stretch them out, and then try to drop the toes down one at a time, starting with the pinky.
So I basically can do it, but
It's okay, it's hard. It's hard. So if you're struggling with that, try just lifting the toes off the ground and placing them back down. And we lift the toes up and then we try to stretch them out, and then one at a time we try to slowly bring them to the floor.
so you have to
Go. Now we'll work on the warming up the outside of the foot by slowly going back and forth with the knees.
This can pass time and Little Mermaid ride when you don't have nothing to do.
Yes, the lines can get quite long at Disney. So you might feel like you're sitting in your chair. La-da-da, la-da-da. So you can
And
always...
if you have an ice cream sandwich, eat it because it's gonna melt.
Eat it quickly. So this will always give you something to do. Work on your feet and your balance. If you're sitting in line, patiently waiting.
And if you're waiting in air conditioning, it can be a little bit better.
Much better. So now that our feet are starting to get nice and warmed up, we'll move on to our hands. So we'll bring the hands up. You can keep the elbows near the sides and just stretch those fingers out nice and wide. We call these our starfish fingers.
And what you can do is trace each finger, which is called starfish breathing, different from starfish fingers.
That is correct. So we call this starfish breathing. You bring the hands together and you trace it up and down, and with each trace, it's an inhale and an exhale as you make your way through your fingers. It's also something very tangible that you can do for breathing.
Yeah.
So you take those starfish fingers, and now we'll practice opening and closing the hand. So we'll make fist. Now let's release the hands to the knees, and we'll roll one shoulder at a time, back
And forth.
and forth, one at a time, slowly warming up our bodies. So the next hand exercise is one that you might use in Toy Story Mania. So we'll bring the hands up again. We'll practice closing them in a pinch fashion, like you would be grabbing on to a little string.
And you keep getting those points, which is going to be very handy in the end.
That's right. So in Toy Story Mania, you're grabbing onto a little string and pulling it as quickly as you can to score points.
And sometimes they have to load passengers and unload passengers, so the railroads come to a stop.
Just stop. It does indeed. And then you have a little more waiting. And while you wait, you can roll your shoulders back and forth. But this time, we're coming forward.
Or you can just keep pulling the gun, but you won't get any points. So it's something to do where you or you can keep doing this exercise, which is pinch and pull.
Touching and pulling. So we'll move on to the next exercise, which is gripping with the fingers.
Gripping with the fingers, like Stitch.
Okay, we might be Stitch, or we might be reaching for a handle or a jar, something we're gripping. So we want to make sure our fingers are loose enough to grip.
Yeah. And if we're stitching, like hopping on chair to chair.
Right, so we'll release those hands, and now we'll roll both shoulders back, thinking that Stitch, which is the guy from Lilo and Stitch, might end up on our shoulders.
And you kind of
And now we'll take that forward.
and this instruction is in the pitch black darkness.
And now we'll add the shoulder with the elbow, like we're doing like a little swim.
What children?
Just keep swimming. Maybe you've heard that song, that
In
movie.
the musical, oh boy, it's super long.
Super long. And then we'll go the other way. So reverse whichever way you were going before. That's an important thing in yoga. What you do on one side, you really need to do on the other.
And if you've been to the Lion King Festival, you could be watching that too.
Watching that too. Now we'll try to put two things together, rocking the feet and closing and opening the hands, so that we're doing two things at one time.
This can be useful for if you're watching the Lion King Festival and they ask you to do something silly like be a koala or something like really funny, like be a giraffe. Be
Now let's take one of the hands up,
up and
or maybe the range of motion is here. reach.
And reach.
Reach. Maybe tilt to the side a little bit and feel a stretch, a small stretch along this side of the body. And we'll bring that arm down. And then we'll bring the other side up. Do it on that side. A little stretch on that side. Feel that on this side of the body. Nice job. Now we're going to practice some taps. So we'll take our right hand and tap the left knee. Then we'll take the opposite hand, the left hand, and tap the right knee. We'll do that a couple times. Crossing the midline of the body, opposite hand to knee. And this exercise is really good for us because it helps work the brain too in a bilateral movement. In fact, we have a little brain teaser for you. You can even lift the heel to add a little extra to this movement.
And
So, would you like to do our brain teaser or would you like me to get it started?
get it started.
What do you put in the toaster?
Toast.
Toast. Toast is what pops up. So if toast is what popped into your mind, then keep working on this exercise and crossing the left and right brain, creating integration there. Now we'll take this a little more intense, or you can keep with the same rhythm and pattern, or you can also lift the arm.
And say, silk, silk, silk.
And if you say silk, 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 then someone says, what do cows drink? The brain teaser answer is
Water.
water, not milk. So we'll tap this left
And of course,
elbow
the
to the right
the
knee.
calves drink the milk from the mama.
They do. So we'll tap, right, so the calves drink milk. So that's kind of a really tricky brain teaser. So we'll do left, the opposite, left,
And
To
keep
the
it
right.
moving. Keep it moving.
or remember you always have the option to keep it low and do the taps. The choice is yours based on your range of motion.
And if you're like me, you're kind of fast, even in a hurry.
Nice job. So we take a small break from that.
And drink some water
And then
because
drink some water, that's right, because we want to stay hydrated. Hydration is really important every day, not just the days you're at Disney. Got it?
hey,
Now, we'll raise our hands. Either we can stop here, or we can go completely up, and then slowly twist to the side.
twist to the side.
And then we bring the hands back together, and we twist to the other side. So this can look a couple different ways, depending on how you're feeling today, and where your range of motion is.
Yeah, and you do
You can go
this.
high if your shoulder's feeling up to it. Or you can stay low. Just want to do a couple little twists.
And if you get tired, you can stop.
That's true. And you can always come back because we're headed back to our knee taps because we really believe in the brain teasers and the bilateral motion and coordination of our bodies. So this is the higher version, the more intense version. If you want to go way intense, you can think about bringing that arm all the way up first.
Okay. And speaking of first, if you put the
Hello?
person in first place, what place does that make you?
What place does that make you? First. And if you pass the person in second place, what place does that make you?
Third?
That makes you second. Let's do a couple more of those flowing twists.
And
How about
if you
that?
answered first or third, you're incorrect.
And down. Nice job. Okay, so we'll move on now to the Warrior series. So if you can, scoot to one side of the chair and have the knees going in the opposite direction. Yes, I use the word scoot, scooch. Get as far to the edge as you feel comfortable. Trying to keep, again, the knees in line with the toes. The knees in line with the ankles so that we're really grounded in our chairs. And then we'll take this knee out. And then you can practice, because when you go to Disney, if you haven't been before, so you'll take this leg and you'll bring it over. And you can start really small, just like a small gap here. And then you can start to bring it further out. But when you're in a wheelchair at Disney and you get to the front of the line, in fact, we'll sidestep it like this, they'll ask you if you would like, the cast member will ask you if you would like to transfer. And so if you can transfer, so think about practicing this motion. We're actually transferring out or into the ride vehicle of the attraction. So you can do different things here. You can
if you're sitting in the theater, you basically can just, sit here.
just sit. So the next thing we'll try is to see if we can take this leg and tuck the foot under the chair. Almost like you would be going down to kneel, but not actually doing it. So still finding a really good place in the chair. You can hold on if you'd like to, but try to find a place where you don't feel like you need to grab on, that you're falling out the chair. So you might need to scoot back into the chair a little bit further to do this one. And see if you can just bring that knee toward the ground.
Knee toward the ground.
Now we'll try our warrior hands or arms. So this too is along the same lines. If you feel like you have nice shoulder range or your arms are feeling stronger today, you can reach up nice and high like we would in Warrior 1.
Oh, yeah.
And then float the arms.
And go to warrior 2.
Warrior 2, that's right. And then we'll pretend we're flip our palm up like we would be holding soup in our hand.
And think of a movie that you would hold
Soup, okay. Okay, don't pull on, right? So we don't want to pull on someone when they're doing yoga, right? That's really important. Okay?
That is right.
Okay, and then we'll bring that
showing you
hand
what not to do.
up. Reverse warrior. Nice job. That's true, right? Because our video can also show things that you don't want to do. And then we'll windmill those arms back to the knees. Nice job. That's right. You're still working really hard and doing an excellent job. High five. Okay, so now we'll try to put those together. The option here is to put the hands low, like warrior one. If you feel like your shoulder range is here today, you can do that for warrior one. And then release that knee back like we talked about. And slide those hands out to warrior two. Then the soup for reverse warrior. And then windmill the hands back to the center. And now we'll return to the center of our chairs. We'll do a couple shoulder rolls. And we'll talk about how yoga is different than stretching in that we flow poses together. So let's go back. So just like we did a little warrior flow now, that's how yoga can be different from simply stretching. So let's try that other side now. So we'll go to the opposite side of the chair with our knees. And again, scoot to the opposite side with our bodies. And finding that position that's on the edge of the chair, but where you don't feel like you're going to fall, so that you still feel secure in the chair without holding on to the chair. And then we'll do those.
Sometimes you have to.
We'll do the transfers.
And sometimes you can do this and still be safe.
So we'll start.
I like to be safe. I like to be safe, so I hold on to the chair.
Okay. Well, you can do that too. So we'll start with our transfers, gently opening up that hip a little further every time until that hip kind of stretches nice. And then we'll bring it back together. We call this our transfer pose. We're renaming this the transfer pose. We want to transfer out the wheelchair when we make it to the front of the line.
And if you don't, you can just watch the instructor do it.
That too. So then we'll take this right leg and tuck the knee like we would be going down to kneel, but we don't actually kneel. And we'll try that a few times.
You could just hide your foot.
And you could think of it as hiding your foot and sliding it back down a couple times.
Or you could put it behind and put it under the chair.
And now we'll work on the arms. So we'll do warrior arms, where our arms
Because
high, like in warrior one.
This
Straight up in warrior one.
could be
And then
Cinderella.
we drop down to warrior two.
Oh, the
Release
leaning
down
tower
to
Pisa.
warrior two.
I can be the leaning tower of Pisa.
Flip the hand for warrior.
Sometimes you
Reverse
just have
warrior.
to be the leaning tower of Pisa.
And
I'm the
windmill
leaning
back.
tower of Pisa. I'm the leaning tower of Pisa.
Now we'll try those together. We'll add the arms and the legs for our warrior series. So the hands
It's like this.
here,
So, I might need.
and then we release the knee down. You stretch out.
Wake up.
Flip the palm up.
Flip the palm.
For reverse warrior.
And
And then windmill the hands.
sometimes, if you have
We'll
the
return
same setup, if
to the center of the chair.
you have the same setup, the setup might fall.
And we'll roll one shoulder at a time.
So we chugging.
Let's do some cat-cows. some seated cat-cows. Seated cat-cows, boo. So we're staying in the chair today, remember? So we'll round the back out toward the back of the chair. And then we'll stretch forward. Bring our hearts forward. Stretching out the back. And then we'll round
And that's it.
cat with our backs rolling toward or rounding toward the back of the chair. And then sliding forward. And our chest forward. And our shoulder blades retracting.
Move. Meow.
Try that a couple more times at your own pace.
Move.
Stretch the body.
Meow and meow. Meow. And then there's a really good chapter.
Now for this next part,
You might want to look up the other way because
rest the foot out and bring the foot out. And then this one, we have a tennis ball here. So you can use a tennis ball if you have one handy. Or
if
you
you
can
have
cross the
a
ankles.
dog, you can.
And cross the ankles low and get another stretch in the hip.
And
Or
this
you
is
can glide your foot up.
or to remind you of the great movie ride. This could be.
And stretch into a seated pigeon pose.
And you can.
You can
But this
gently,
is the great movie ride, and there's a bunch of things that go into the great movie ride.
there are. And so you can gently do a little rolling on your ankle, above your ankle there.
So some of the
And
pieces
then
of the great
take your
movie
hands
ride I
and
don't
start to
remember.
massage your foot.
Massage your foot with the ball. It's really hard. It will roll away.
Or, right, so you can put the ball under your foot and try to roll it around on the ground. You can separate out your toes.
Or pretend you're Wally, like fun.
And then take your thumbs and kind of walk them up your foot from your heel along your foot to your big toe. And then you can do the same thing in the center
Or
of the
just
foot.
toss the ball back and forth.
And then along the pinky. And then just give the foot a good overall rubbing around the heel. And then we'll glide that foot back down to the ground. And do a little stretch there.
What you do on one side, you have to do on the other side. Putting the tennis ball between the foot.
So just tapping that foot out a little bit before we move to the other side for balance, right? And in, so then the other leg stretches out. And again, you can use the tennis ball, or you can tuck your foot here. Just kind of roll it around on the other foot. Or you can come up for full seated pigeon.
Full seated pigeon.
And then start by the ankle and kind
What's
of
a
gently
full
twist
seated
there.
pigeon?
This, when you have your, when you're
I
stretching
think I'll
the
put
hip.
it more of a pretzel. There's a flamingo.
Try it.
I think I'll put
Try
a seated flamingo.
Okay, well, if that's what you'd like to call it, you can. Let me see you try to do it.
That is
There you go. There you go. Nice
This
job.
is also could be seated flamingo. If you like flamingos like I do, cut seated flamingo and save the ball if you have it on. Save it for the dog.
Save the dog. All right. Separate out the toes. And then again, you can take the thumbs and walk them up the foot from the heel to the big toe, and then the center of the foot, and then again by the pinky, all the way up to the pinky, and then do a nice rubbing on the heel, and a nice overall rub on the foot. There we go. Our feet are so important to our
That
balance.
is true.
And then we'll slide that foot down the leg. And then again, stretch it out and do some little taps. Nice tap. And we'll bring those together again. And we'll do some little neck rolls. So we'll start with the chin tucked to the chest. And then we'll just roll a little bit to one side and then the other. Just doing a nice little roll. Bring it a little higher the next time. Trying to keep it forward.
I try to keep it up.
And then bring one shoulder to your ear and then drop it all the way down. And bring the other shoulder up to the ear and drop it down. Then we'll reach our hands way out in our hugging arms. You can bring those back as far as you can.
And pretend you're hugging your sister or some family member.
There you
Like
go.
this.
And then you bring the arms across for a giant hug, and you can hug yourself too. Remember that you are an original and you leave a positive imprint on the world. Hug yourself, and then you lift the elbows towards your
hug
nose.
yourself and hug yourself and
toward the center. And
just
then
hug yourself
releasing.
until you don't feel like hugging no more.
And then we'll release that. And again,
And
what we do on one side,
pat,
we do on the other. So this time the opposite arm will be on top. As we hug ourselves. And think about the great trip that we're going to take with our family. The elbows come up to the nose, to the center, and then release them back down.
And then if you want, you can
Arms out
pretend
completely.
you
Roll the shoulders a couple times. And then we'll go ahead and slide back all the way in the chair and relax.
With no eyes.
Close your eyes
Pretend you have no eyes for a minute.
and take a deep breath. And take a moment to sit here and relax. In the silence. And then slowly wiggle your hands and then your toes. Open your eyes. Thank you so much for practicing with us today. I hope that you enjoyed it and that it makes you more prepared for your trip to Disney and that you have a wonderful experience there. I also promised my Disney fan that he would have a few minutes at the end to talk about some of the things that he likes, including choo-choo breathing. So we did starfish breathing as part of our practice today. But choo-choo breathing is also something that you can incorporate. So in choo-choo breathing, as my Disney fan is demonstrating, we inhale when the arm goes out, and we exhale as the arm returns to us. So whether that's low here or higher here. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then you can get faster with that. So that's and then chew, chew. Chew, chew.
Don't have a few.
Do you have anything else to share before?
And now the 10 o'clock news.
Time for the news. Good night, everyone.